to Back to the AM show. Let's talk about history. And even before we come on, I'm already loving this discussion. You remember a man by name W.E.B Du Bois. I mean, Dr. W.E.B Du Bois. He was born on February 27, 1868 in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. And he was not only the first African-American to earn a doctorate degree from Harvard University, but also a co-founder of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. His life and works have left an enduring legacy, one that continues to inspire people around the globe. Now, as you know already, this man left US of A and decided to settle in Ghana, to make Ghana his second home. And he and his wife passed in this country, and as we speak till today, they are, you say they are remaining, or remnant, still remain here in Ghana, in the capital, Accra, at the W.E. Du Bois Center. I'm lucky to be joined in the studio by Mr. Japhet Ayiku. He is Executive Director of the W.E.B Du Bois Museum Foundation here in Ghana. Dr. David Levering Lewis is 2 times award-winning author of a biography of W.E. Du Bois, and he was also a former lecturer at the University of Ghana, Legon, in 1963, I am told. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Before we came on, I was asking for the right pronunciation of Du Bois.
Yeah.
And you said it's Du Bois.
Du Bois, yeah.
Because a lot of people think it's Du Bois,
yeah.
but it's Du Bois.
Du Bois, yeah.
Okay.
I learned that very quickly when I started working on this project.
Okay.
Like, it's just Du Bois.
Okay, so that's the clarification. A lot of people should know that it's Du Bois.
Du Bois.
Okay, all right then. Let's start off our conversation here so that everybody can benefit. Now, what are the main objectives and purpose behind organizing the 60th anniversary of the passing of this man?
So thank you very much for having us in the studio. So as you said, I'm Japhet Ayiku. I'm a Ghanaian American, and I serve as Executive Director of the W.E.B Du Bois Museum Foundation, which is based in New York and has affiliate here in Ghana. Okay. Our aim is to work with the Ghana government to rebuild the Du Bois Center into a first-class museum that will be the hub of all things Du Bois. Okay. I've always said that a lot of places have remnants of Du Bois, they have their books and papers and all of that. Ghana has the remains of Du Bois, and so we have to make it into a first-class museum. So that's what our objective is, to try to do that. So whilst we're trying to negotiate with the Ghana government, we decided that we have to honor 2 events in his life. One is his birthday, the 23rd of February, every year, we're going to honor that. And then the 27th of August, his death day. Okay. So
his birthday was
23rd of February.
Yeah. February. Yeah. Okay.
And every year we honor that day with event in Ghana. Yeah. And then the 27th of August is his death day, the day he passed. Okay. And this year happens to be the 60th anniversary of his passing, which is very significant because the day before, after he passed, there was a big civil rights march in Washington, D.C., which resulted in a lot of legislation for jobs and equality and all of that. So we said we're going to commemorate this 60th anniversary by having a couple of events here at the center. One is on Saturday, the 26th, we're going to have a symposium where we have invited some Du Bois scholars from around the United States and here in Ghana to reflect on the life of Du Bois. And then on the 27th, which is the actual day of his passing, the Sunday, we're going to do a wreath laying, and the president has agreed to come for that event on Sunday. So we're very excited. And
it will be done at the center?
At the center. Okay. So it will be done at the center. So for the panelists that are put together, the leading panelist is Dr. David Levering Lewis, who is the authoritative author of The Life of Du Bois with his book, as I brought it to the studio. I mean, no one knows more about Du Bois than this gentleman here who spent his lifetime researching Du Bois. Okay. And this book won in 2 volumes. Each of them won the Pulitzer Prize Award, which has never been done before. No one has ever won the Pulitzer Prize for a biography of the same subject back to back. He's the only one who has ever done it. So I'm very, very happy to have him with us and to have him in the studio here today.
Okay. All right. So this is a book that Dr. Levering wrote.
Yep.
He's a winner of the Pulitzer Prize.
Yep.
A biography of W.E. Du Bois, David Levering Lewis, and we have him in the studio here. So, Doc, let's talk about the significance, of the works of Du Bois. I mean, especially
Du Bois.
I almost went for the corrupt name, Du Bois. It's Du Bois.
Du Bois.
In contribution to civil rights activities, especially his Pan-African ideals, particularly in the context of his connection to Ghana.
Yes. Du Bois's career is really quite remarkable. In the United States, of course, as we do know, he was the co-founder of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And to make that organization effective, he edited a magazine of remarkable political and investigative saliency. It was called The Crisis Magazine. And I think it's fair to say that for many African Americans growing up in the early 20th century, this was their Bible. This was the document that informed them of the rights that they should have, and the reasons why they did not have those rights. And it was finally very effective in producing, though by that time he had gone on to do other things, producing the historic Supreme Court decision in 1954, Brown versus Board of Education, which said that equality cannot be partial, it must be therefore total. And it opened up the airways, as it were, to people of color, to full participation in their democracy. Du Bois, responsible in many ways for that development, looked upon it, though, from a global perspective and said, although these rights have been given formally, in reality, their acquisition is a long and difficult road ahead. And he, having said something at the beginning of the 20th century that has been perhaps the catechism of people of color globally, when he said that the problem of the 20th century was going to be the problem of the color line. He then amended it to say it will continue to be the problem even after that century. And with that perspective in mind, he looked upon the situation globally and said, even the advantages that people of color have obtained in my country are considerable. They are quite partial and still evolving. And we can be part of a global piggyback, as it were, of development of justice globally, if indeed we commit ourselves to the advancement of people of color everywhere, globally. And it turned out that he had an ally in a young man who had known him well in the United States as a student at Lincoln University, and had indeed at a famous institution called the Schomburg Institution, a library in Harlem. He had spoken with Du Bois about these very issues. He had never forgotten the interaction he had had with Du Bois. And so, finally, as Du Bois aged and became less and less happy with the developments, formal though they were in terms of their civil rights, but insufficient, he had an ambition, and that was to create an Encyclopedia Africana, which would explain to the world in a handy but very fat document how the deprivation of people of color has consequences that have deprived everyone, indeed. And it was Nkrumah who invited Du Bois to come to Ghana with the support of the Academy of Sciences of Ghana to produce that document. Du Bois was not quite ready to go, but developments in the United States finally decided him that he must leave, because although the results had benefited his own people in the United States. The global war between East and West prohibited, really, the movement of people of the darker races. And so he accepted that invitation. He left in 1961 and came here. And there on Cantonments Road in his bungalow, he anticipated creating that encyclopedia. He died before that could happen. And
so where the foundation is was his bungalow?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where the center is?
That is indeed so.
Yeah.
That is indeed so. Yeah. And he passed on the eve. His timing was, in fact, cinematic, you might say, that he died just as people of color in the United States realized that they needed more rights and that those rights were connected to people globally. And so with the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom in August 28 of 1963, it opened with 200,000 people encircling the grand reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial, where the chairman of the NAACP stepped to the microphone and said, "We are here today because a great man has just died in Ghana. And it is his wish and his significance that has brought us here today." And so we have soon Martin Luther King speaking in phrases that had been unparalleled since Abraham Lincoln, invoking the ideas of a Du Bois, as Du Bois died here. And Osagyefo Nkrumah decided that he, Du Bois, merited a great state funeral and burial at Christiansborg Castle in 1963.
Very, very interesting history in the morning. You want to ask something?
Indeed, yeah, no, what he just said. So every now and then when I'm asked, how did I get involved with this Du Bois project, I always say, well, I met Du Bois when I was 13 years old.
Okay.
And then everybody was, "You did?" Yeah, I said, "Yeah." So the story behind my meeting Du Bois when I was 13 years old was that I went to a third grade high school. We were introduced to library reading. So I go to the library and I'm looking at the shelves, and the first book that I picked from the shelf was a red rectangular book, Souls of Black Folk. How can I read Souls of Black Folk? I mean, it's hard reading. But I was able to memorize the first paragraph, which he just quoted. That stuck with me from the age of 13 up to now, that the problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line. The relationship between the darker-skinned people of Africa, the West Indies, and the lighter-skinned people of Europe and the rest of the world. That stuck with me. And that prophecy is as true as it wrote back in the 1900s as it is today. If you look at what's happening all over around the world, it is always the question of the color, okay, who we are as a people, and how they look at us and all of that. So, he just went over everything that
interesting.
got me to that.
But Doc, you know that his relocation to Ghana and dining in the country along his wife has, I think, created a relationship between Ghana and the US of A. How do we develop that in terms of cultural, arts, history, and all of that?
It's a tall order, indeed, but it's also a marvelous opportunity, it seems to me. Symbolism is essential, it seems to me, in our quest to achieve just those things. And we have the opportunity on Cantonments Road, where Du Bois and his second wife, Shirley Graham Du Bois, are interred, to celebrate those ideas monumentally. That is to say, to have a place for scholars to come internationally, globally, to deepen the ideas and ideals of Du Bois. We have a place where Ghanaians who perhaps as the years have passed themselves desire to claim that moment of Pan-Africanism that was so central to both their president's ideals and Du Bois's as well. It seems to me also that there is a larger critique to make of the system by which people are both advanced and at the same time denied their rights, and that would be called capitalism. A marvelous engine for productivity and wealth, at the same time, one which unregulated maldistributes wealth and concentrates it at the very pinnacle of the social structure.
It doesn't spread it to the base.
It doesn't spread the base. And if any essential idea encapsulates Du Bois, and it seems to me President Nkrumah in those times, it was just that, to regulate the economics of the globe so that we all benefit from it.
Okay. We're just about wrapping up, but the Du Bois Foundation has helped in preserving and honoring his legacy. What are the plans for the foundation?
Yeah, so what we're planning to do is that in the next 4 years or so, we are going to raise between $50 and $75 million. We're going to invest in that place. We're going to rebuild, restore his bungalow to the way that it was when they lived there. We're going to rebuild the tomb into a nice memorial. We're going to build offices with conference centers and all of that, so that the center will become the hub of all things Du Bois. This is our goal and our aim. It's going to create a lot of jobs and skill training. The books, he came to Ghana with 1,500 books. The books are falling apart. We have a relationship with the Library of Congress, which is the premier library in the whole world. They're working with us to preserve those books, repair them, and restore them, all that. These are skills that we are going to be providing to Ghanaians, both training them here and also abroad, for them to come back and restore these books and digitization and all of that. Very, very exciting thing ahead of us that we're looking forward to do. Coming here, though, there are 5 other scholars who are here. I hope you come to the center tomorrow to listen to them.
Why not?
We're also here with our board, members of the board of the Du Bois Foundation. There's a Ghanaian, the head of Ghanaian Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Humphrey Dake, is a member of our board. We also have Dr. Deborah Rose, who's also here. She's a member of our board. They're all going to be there tomorrow and Sunday.
Okay, so it's tomorrow and Sunday.
And Sunday, yeah.
All right, so we all pass by to learn about Du Bois.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This is a very heavy one.
Yes, this is it.
Okay. All right, so you had Mr. Japhet Ayiku. He is Executive Director of the W.E. Du Bois Museum Foundation. Dr. David Leverin Lewis, he's a 2 times award-winning author of a biography of W.E. Du Bois. And this one here is the Pulitzer Prize winner. Well, that has been our show, but like they said, please, let's meet there tomorrow and Sunday at the W.E. Du Bois Memorial Center and learn more about Du Bois.